Greetings and welcome, fellow cowboys and girls. It's 2019 after all, and we're getting with the times. Today we are going to be having a look at the new VR title called Copper Canyon. Now, this was made by a three-man team called Dragon Studios, and as such I'll be reviewing this as an indie game rather than a AAA developer. Now, whilst I may be going easy on them in general, I will be harsh and honest where it needs to be. This game is a wave-based shooter that can be quite hectic and energetic, but still has a few bugs and problems that we need to deal with. There is no real easing into this game. Right from the start, from the first mission, you have to duck, dodge, dive your way through a hail of incoming bullets and psychotic robots. And that's generally the theme throughout the entire game, going from one area to the next. Each area will present you with 3 waves of robots, each wave throwing hordes of robots at you until you beat them all or die or drop to the ground from exhaustion. Each area you traverse to is a different map, filled with possible strategic cover points, enemy spawn points, gun pickups, health bottles, and, when it eventually comes to it, a place to put your back against the wall and hide. After you have successfully traversed all the maps in the current mission, you will come up against the mission boss. Although there are currently only 3 missions, at the moment the boss for each mission is exactly the same. However, the difficulty for each boss increases and the strategy you need to beat each one will change. Now, with all that being said, there are a few general points that I want to go over in this review. And those are of the graphic style, the gameplay, weapons and controllers, as well as problems and glitches, followed up by some ideas and general thoughts. The graphic style is a unique design to this game, mixing a little steampunk with Wild West cowboys, using a technique that is very similar to ink and paint. The design layout depicts a 3-dimensional cartoon village, almost the same graphical styles as Borderlands, but without the heavy outlines. The 3 areas you explore are the Canyon Valley, Town and Mines. The overall designs are simple, but for each portrays the areas you're in. The canyon being high canyon walls and overhangs, with crates strewn all over the places to hide behind. The town is full of buildings along and long streets where robots would appear on balconies and side alleys, whilst the mine is a dark underground cavern filled with stalagmites and stalactites, each giving the area a close feel for tight combat, as well as large areas in some levels for general running around when you need to be running and gunning. It will feel like that from the very first moment you start the game, that you will be bombarded by hordes of robots just shooting you wave after wave. And, to be honest, you're quite right. This is a wave shooter after all and not an FPS style game, as I do class the two differently. I have often said that sometimes all you need is something to shoot and something to shoot something with. In this case, that thing that will be shot is you. At any one point during a wave, the air can be so full of bullets raining down at you, exploding suicide bots charging at you, that you won't even have a moment to breathe before your health is knocked out by that one guy you didn't see standing behind you. But then again, we like a challenge, don't we? And this game is completable when you have your strategy worked out and you are in the zone. It did take me over 1.5 hours to complete this though on my first playthrough. At the moment you can only use the Move controllers as the game is not designed for any other controller. You use your controllers to pick up the guns in your holsters or one of those that are laying around. if you drop a gun, it's gone forever, and you'll need to pick up a standard pistol from your holster or find another gun somewhere else. Movement is done by teleporting. Using the move button on the right controller, time will slow down as you can choose your desired location. And if you twist the controller before you release the move button, you can see where you're going to be facing when you teleport. Unfortunately, there is currently no rotation button or options or free movement other than teleports at the moment. So far, it looks like there are currently only two weapons in the game that you can use: the pistol and shotgun, otherwise known as the scattergun. In your holster, you will always regenerate a standard pistol if you ever lose your weapons. However, as you go around, you will see other weapons dotted around the place. One of them looks very much like the pistol that is spawned in your holsters. I'm not too sure if there's any difference between the two, but they do seem the same to me. The other weapon I like to call the shotgun because of the scatter effect and the shotgun shell type bullets that it uses. Now, the shotgun is good to do heavy damage to robots at close range, like the bombers that run at you, as well as robots that you can run up to at point zero and blast them away with a nicely timed shot. But they are useless at long distance. Another advantage of using the shotgun is that you can, as you can shoot bullets out of the air, when firing this gun, it has a higher chance of hitting incoming bullets with its scatter effect, as well as a higher chance of hitting multiple healing bottles that are close by. However, for long distance shooting, it is best to use the pistol so you can get the accuracy off when trying to headshot or shoot someone at a distance. So sometimes I kind of recommend at least holding in one hand a pistol and in the other hand a shotgun, so you can use a multitude of roles where being shooting people at a distance or defending yourself when that suicide bomber runs right at you. Sorry to have to go into this, but there are a few areas that we do need to address before going forward. There are a couple of bugs that I noticed and problems that can be sorted out with a little bit of coding and reorganization in the next patch or two. First is there is a slight glitch in the main menu. Whilst you're standing around and looking around, there is a white light that keeps flashing and filling the screen. It's just a fraction of a second, but when its frequency is when I'm moving my head, that it can be annoying. I'm sure it can be replicated if you just wait long enough and just keep on looking around. Other issues is the menu credit screen. If you look away from it, it keeps resetting, which can be annoying when sitting down because I'm straining my legs looking at it. If I rest my head for a little bit and look straight, it just keeps on resetting. So you might want to have a look into just putting that on a continuous loop rather than having it reset every time you look at it. Things to note with the general controllers: not everyone likes teleporting, and the way that you turn during teleporting by twisting the controllers can be quite frustrating, especially in a fast-packed firefight. This needs to be a fast turning button, like the square and triangle. Yes, I know they are currently used for height adjusting, but you don't need to use two extra buttons to do the same job that holding down the start already does. 4 buttons if you think of the 2 buttons on each controller. As for adding free movement, again, thinking of the 2 move controllers as 2 different input devices. You can use the move button on the right one for teleporting and the move button on the left for running in the direction the controller is pointing. You'll need to set up the extra menu features for both rotation and movement. Degree snap turning or smooth for the turning options, and speed the user wishes to run at for the movement options, all to keep things aligned with those motion sickness. Final thing about the weapons: if you accidentally drop one because your thumb slipped on the controller and hit the release, then you can't pick it up again. Several times I've accidentally let one slip and then cursed myself as I look in horror as my scattergun fades from existence, and then I have to just run around like mad trying to be able to find another gun which I can pick up. If not, I'm just back down to the 2 pistols that I originally have, which can be a problem in some cases. So it might be an idea to have it so that if you drop a gun that you have picked up, like this shotgun, make sure that you can pick it up again afterwards so it doesn't vanish. Now, for your first game, I think you have done very well to get your title out there. But now I'm guessing that you'll be wanting to go about your second title. Copper Canyon is a good for a base game platform, one of which you can build up with, much like what Bolverick Games did with its title Dick Wild and its second incarnation, Dick Wild 2. You have so much going on here, and here's some ideas going forward. First, the nuts and bolts that you've collected can become your currency. By repeating missions you can gain more currency, but the higher, harder levels can net bigger incomes. Have a store where you can buy new weapons and gear to add to an equipment locker where you can choose what to bring in your next mission. Varying grades of armor that gets destroyed after being hit a number of times. EMP charges. A shield that hangs off your back so you have to drop one of your guns to pick it up. As for the weapons, in this style, well, it is cowboy meets robots after all. You have a bit of an artistic license to be a little bit creative with when it comes to some of the weapons. Like maybe, how about a gun that has a crank on it so you have to rotate the crank with your other hand to fire a continuous stream of bullets. I remember some old Gatling guns that used to be very much like that. Or how about a gun that charges up with loads of batteries and fires out a single electromagnetic bolt that one hits a robot. However, it's ineffective against the boss's EM shields, of course. Maybe have some of the storyline like an eccentric old scientist in some backwashed watering hole of a town lost control of his inventions when they started self-replicating, and now you, his genius son or daughter, has to go and rescue him. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, and my mind goes a little bit wild sometimes. But for an indie studio's first VR game, it's not too bad. This is solely a wave-based shooter game with its own quirky art styles and graphics. If you're looking for a good exercise workout from ducking and dodging all the bullets, then you might find a little bit of an enjoyable experience here too. My final verdict is that I give this game an exploding robot out of 10. I am interested in where this studio is going. We have been surprised before with other indie companies pointing out some great gems for their second or even third title. Let's see what Dragon Studios' next move will be. They have tested the water, and now I think it's time for them to dive right in. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I have enjoyed in creating it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys out there.